Hey kids, Dad here. It is Sunday, July 27, 2026, and it is 1:07 in the afternoon. Still fighting a bad back. Still fighting with it, but it's to the point today I might be able to do some stretching. Maybe tomorrow I'll be back to close to normal. Hope you kids are having a wonderful, peaceful Sunday. And let's talk about step 12. The final step of the 12-step program that your dad has been living past over a year and a half now. So like we talked about before, quick recap. Step 1, Dad, you're fired. You suck at life. Step 2, identifying something higher, greater than me that can restore me to sanity. Step 3, turning my will, my life over to the care of that thing. Step 4, making those lists, fears, things that I am angry about, resentments, in personal relationships. Step 5, sharing that list with another human being. Step 6, kind of that review. Have I done all the first 5 steps as thoroughly and fully as possible? Step 6, asking God to alleviate my shortcomings. That selfishness, that fear, that dishonesty, that ego, that pride, what we call character defects. Step 8, stealing from my step 4, personal relationships and fears and resentments, and probably adding a few to it to make that list of people I'd harmed for step 8. Step 9, reaching out to those people, telling them, having that conversation, hey, I did wrong. What can I do to make things right? Step 10, continuing to do that on a daily basis. Step 11, prayer and meditation. So step 12, arguably my favorite step, because I get to live in it every day. In a nutshell, step 12 is helping others. Specifically in my magical blue book, it says something to the effect of having had a spiritual awakening, which I've had, as the result of the steps, because the purpose of the steps is to have a spiritual awakening. Tried to carry this message to fellow alcoholics. So trying to help out other alcoholics to find sobriety the same way that I have. And practice these principles in all my affairs. The principles being honesty, integrity, making amends when I'm wrong. Those are just a few of them. So doing that in all my affairs. Not just when I'm in a 12-step meeting. Not just when I wake up and pray, but 24/7. The big one in there is carrying the message to fellow alcoholics. So what does that mean? It means whenever I get asked to speak at a meeting of alcoholics, a meeting of people in recovery, I say yes. I've had a chance for the last year and a half to do that probably a dozen or more times at just a Zoom online meeting where you're like the lead speaker. You share your experience, your strength, and your hope. And I've had a chance to go to treatment centers. Did that about once a month for almost a year. Going to a treatment center and meeting with the men there and telling them how I found sobriety, in hopes that maybe they can pluck a little tool or two out of my bag of tools that work for me. I haven't done that since I've gotten down to Bravo Zulu, but Bravo Zulu House is another example of how I do that. Here at Bravo Zulu House, every resident is in recovery. Either alcohol, some form of drugs, maybe both. But carrying the message to them, well, some of them I'll sit and read the book with. I'll go through the book. I will talk with them routinely about where I'm at in the program. Ask them how they're doing. Make myself available for any questions they may have. A lot of them will connect with what's called a sponsor, kind of a mentor, because I haven't been around for over a year and a half in this community. Going to a lot of meetings, about 2 to 3 a day. I think my average is like 2.5 a day. I know a lot of people in recovery. A lot of people who are very, very amazing superheroes in recovery. So I'll connect residents here with mentors. I also set a good example to the best of my ability by maintaining this strict routine of waking up and praying, going to work, going to a meeting, hitting the gym, going to another meeting. Hopefully, that sets a good example for the residents here. It's carrying the message, not verbally, but in my actions. I've also taken meetings into correctional facilities, jails, prisons. I do that about every 2 months, particularly Hennepin County Correctional Facility. That's an interesting one because those guys are pretty much in jail for doing something wrong. And having a chance to share with them, even though I never spent time in jail, I can still share with them how I went from having nothing and helpless, hopeless state of mind to living a great life like I do today. So that's carrying the message. There's also other little ways to help people. It doesn't necessarily, even though in the book it says helping other alcoholics, it also says practice these principles in all our affairs. So that means when I go down to the American Legion, I don't know if there's anybody else there who identifies as an alcoholic or in recovery, but I can just ask them, what can I do to be helpful? What can I do to help? Sometimes that's setting up chairs before a meeting. Sometimes, like a couple weeks ago, it's mopping up puke off the floor with a mop bucket when we have a big fundraiser for a bunch of drunk people. Boy, isn't that ironic. You got a sober guy like me mopping up the puke of a bunch of drunk people at 1 a.m. on a Saturday night during a fundraiser. But it's constantly being helpful. I also now, at this point, have the opportunity. A couple of men have asked me if I would sponsor them. And again, sponsor is basically a mentor. So, of course, I said yes. Of course, I told them both, I don't play around with this. This is deadly serious to me. If you're just asking me to be your sponsor so you can tell people you have a sponsor, this ain't going to last long. But if you're hungry to go through this book, through the chapters of this book, to work these steps, it'd be an honor to take you through them. And both those guys came to me in the last couple of months, and they're both sober today. They're both living much better lives than they were when they were in their addiction, in their alcoholism. But I get to sit and work with guys like that, and I talk to them almost every day. Just find out where they're at, and they'll ask me questions, and I'll typically point them to where in the book it kind of gives an answer, because I'm not God, right? So how am I going to manage somebody else's life? But I can be a mentor. I can point people, kind of like a trail guide, and show them where in the book it talks about something maybe that they're struggling with or dealing with. But that 12th step really gives us that sense of purpose, right? Gives us that sense of a mission, where our mission is to be helpful to others through service. Service. Yeah, I know something about service. The irony is, before I found sobriety, I'd been working with a handful of nonprofits: Warriors Next Adventure, Project Got Your Back, Eagle Group, the American Legion, Sons of the American Legion. Those are 5 I spent my time volunteering with and helping out with. But I was never truly able to be helpful until I got sober. And it comes down to, before you can help another, you need to have your own house in order. You need to be healthy and well and fit spiritually, physically, mentally, in a state of fitness yourself before you can help somebody else. It was actually my mentor, Rick, who made that point early on when I first met with him. I think he recognized, he's a very, very wise guy, probably brilliant guy. But he seemed to recognize early on that I was stretching myself thin trying to help other people. And he used the analogy of, in an airplane, when the oxygen masks come falling out from above, and they tell you, put on your own oxygen mask first before you help others. Because if you're spending your time trying to put on somebody else's oxygen mask, you're going to suffocate in the meantime. So I always hear on my shoulder a little voice whisper in my ear, put on your own oxygen mask first. And it's only after I was able to do that over this past year and a half, through the steps, through these 12 steps, that I was able to be in a very fit spiritual condition, fit physically, the best physical shape of my life right now, since the military anyways. And mentally fit as well, that now I can really truly help other people. And that's a gift, that's a blessing, that's an honor. So this wraps up the 12 steps. I can tell you kids, every single day, I live in 10, 11, and 12. Step 10, making that amends whenever I'm wrong, in the moment, in real time. 11, the prayer and the meditation, the self-reflection. Step 12, working with others, trying to be of maximum service. Like I've said before, one of my prayers in the morning that I say on my knees is, Dear God, please help me. Let me help one person today. Help me to be able to help one person today. And whenever that person comes along, I hit my knees again for a second time that day and say, thank you, God. Please allow me to help just one more. And that goes on and on. On a bad day, I haven't found a chance to help anybody. On a good day, I get to hit my knees 5, 6, 7 times. God puts 5, 6, 7 people in my path that I can maybe help out a little bit, whether it be by listening, whether it be by setting the right example, whether it be pointing them to where in our magical book it tells us the answer to a question or challenge they're having, whether it be just showing up when somebody's just had a shoulder surgery and they need somebody to help them go to the bathroom. All these things are things I get to do today. Thank you to the 12 steps. And I look forward to the day when you kids can see these videos and may give me a call and we can have a deeper conversation about some of these steps, some of the work I've had to do, some of the actions I've had to take in order to complete the step, and then the actions I take on a daily basis to continue living in step 10, 11, 12. So in the meantime, I hope you're smiling, I hope you're laughing, I hope you're having fun, and I love you, I miss you. We'll talk soon. Cheers.